to address our presenter and to give a warm welcome.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Jackie.
A very pleasant evening to all. Respected principal, honorable speaker, distinguished delegates and participants. With distinct honor and privilege, I extend a hearty welcome to all of you to the 6th session of the short-term course on human rights, jointly organized by IQAC and the IIC of Sree Ayyappa College and UGC HRDC, Kannur University. I am much delighted to welcome our beloved principal for her unending support and guidance. Welcome you, ma'am. We are blessed to have with us today an eminent personality, Dr. Shyama Ramaswamy, who is a renowned poet and a creative writer. She handles multiple roles as a motivational speaker, researcher, and also an editorial coordinator of the Global Rainbow Foundation, Mauritius. She's an experienced and passionate educator in English language and literature. Her role as a research consultant in providing academic research advices and suggestions to the young budding researchers is also commendable. She is an innovative educator who is charged with extensive knowledge, teaching, and research expertise. She acts as a facilitator who meets the educational requirements and standards. She's a contributor to chapter module design for online learning. She proves her mettle as a strategic coordinator who has much experience in organizing and convening webinars and workshops. She was conferred with the prestigious award of ICCR Award for Master's degree at the University of Mysore, and UGC Award of Junior Research Fellowship in Science and Humanities, including Social Sciences to foreign students from developing countries for the year 2011-12. We are so fortunate to have such a unique speaker who can enlighten us and transform this session to an insightful and interesting one. On behalf of IIC and IQAC of Sree Ayyappa College and HRDC Kannur University, I welcome you, ma'am. I'm immensely pleased to welcome Dr. A.M. Sridharan, Director, UGC HRDC Kannur University, Kerala. I also welcome Dr. Meena, IQAC Coordinator, and Dr. Smita Nair, President of IIC. With pleasure, I welcome all the participants to this virtual platform. Welcome you all.
Thank you, Rashi, for your warm welcome. Attacking people with disabilities is the lowest display of power I can think of, said by Morgan Friedman. Now, I invite our speaker, Dr. Shyama, to start the session. Madam, please.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Dr. Janata Kumari, the beloved principal of Sree Ayyappa College for Women, respected directors of IQAC and HRDCs, and all the participants. So a warm good evening from my side. When we speak of human rights, most of the time we speak of the mainstream society. What I mean by mainstream is the normal people like us. However, there is one part of the society that we tend to marginalize or even ignore. At times, they are the ones who face so much of challenges that we just kind of ignore, and they become invisible for us in the society. So today I'm going to speak about how human rights is interconnected with this disability sector and how it is much relevant to our contemporary society today. Before I start, I would like to share a quick video with you, and then I'll go into the topic. Janata ma'am, can you share?
Yeah, Anita? Yes, Anita, you can share the video now.
Please note that the language is in my mother tongue, so it's a sketch presented by a group of students for the National Leadership Engine, as they collaborated with Global Rainbow Foundation and another university, the University of Mascarenes, for this campaign.
Someone is there joining the meeting, that's why they couldn't play the video.
Shall I start and then we can play the video?
Yeah, because somebody is joining, they have to
Yes,
admit
yes.
it, and that's why they couldn't
Yes,
start it.
yes. So my topic today is related to something which is still taboo in our society. It's related to bullying. Uh, Actually, what I have found while working with the NGO that I'm right now is we all face bullying every day in different phases, in different situations, from different kinds of people. However, many of us do not even know what is happening to us. Like, we don't have the technical words to express that we are being bullied, and the other person inflicting the bully, inflicting the trauma upon us is called a bully. So, people with disabilities. Before I go, people with disabilities are still considered to be the marginalized section of our society. And before I go into the topic right now, I should really appreciate India, because India has already an established rights in terms of disability. So it's called the Rights for People with Disabilities Act 2016, which is really a kind of empowering people with disabilities in India in terms of education, accessibility, rights to information, um, uh, access to leisure activities, and so many other channels where the people with disabilities are able to live a normal life. However, we should acknowledge that despite having an act, despite enacting on the different laws and legislations on in the act, we are still facing one type of marginalization and stereotyping. That is the mindset of the people. So here, bullying is a kind of significant and widespread predicament for people with disabilities, because it is not an unknown or unusual experience to us. However, as I mentioned in the beginning, we still do not realize that we are being bullied. So as we mainstream people, we don't understand really what is a bully. Just imagine the condition of a person with disabilities. Like, uh, they are abused verbally, they are abused physically, they are abused socially. There are so many situations and circumstances where they cannot even defend themselves. And here we cannot pronounce
Can we
to
play the
what.
video,
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Monita? Annie? Yeah. Volume.
Gentlemen,
I think there is a small issue with the volume of the video.
Pardon?
I think
Pardon, Dr. Shakti?
I think there is a small technical issue with the volume of the video. Actually, the whole video is about a sketch which was directed and produced by a group of students for their project. We have a big body here. It's called the NPCC, and under the NPCC we have National Leadership Engine. So this National Leadership Engine is another sub body of the NPCC, which allow the youth of Mauritius to develop leadership skills and contribute to the society. So this video actually was a sketch. The sketch was part of our anti-bullying campaign, which I initiated from the Global Rainbow Foundation for the people with disabilities. So as I was saying, we cannot pronounce the extent to which the issue of bullying is around the world and in Mauritius, because we do not have any specific statistical data concerning any case, any reported case of bullying towards people with disabilities. So this is the first lack which, it encouraged me to initiate the anti-bullying campaign in Mauritius for people with disabilities. So according to the census 2011, we have around 60,000 persons with disabilities, that is 28,900 something male and 30,000, more than 30,000 women with disabilities. So in the Mauritian context, the term disability, the terminology rather, has got six definitions as per the law in Mauritius. And the National Pension Act of 1976 in Mauritius defined a disabled as suffering from a disablement of not less than 60% and resulting from the loss of mental or physical faculty for invalids basic pension, invalids contributing pension, and for survivors pension. And the second definition is they are suffering from a disablement of not less than 1% resulting from a loss of mental and physical faculty caused by an industrial accident or prescribed disease for disablement pension. Another act which defines a person with disability in Mauritius is the Training and Employment of Disabled Persons Act 2012. There is a particular reason why I have selected all these acts, because these are the acts which shows to what extent people with disabilities are not able to enjoy the human rights, not only in Mauritius, but also around the world. So as per this act, a disabled person refers to a person who is certified by a board, usually it's a medical board in Mauritius, to have a long-term physical disfigurement or physical or mental sensory disability, including visual, hearing, or speech functional disability, which gives rise to barriers and prejudices impeding his participation on an equal basis with the other members of the society in major life activities, undertakings, and fields of employment. The Employment Act, the Employment of Disabled Persons Act 1988, however, defines a disabled person as someone who is unable to find a suitable employment on account of any mental and physical deficiency, somebody who is ready and willing to work, and certified to be an eligible person. The Sports Act 2016 defines disability as, I quote, including a person who has long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers, mostly social, cultural, political, educational, and personal, may hinder his full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with persons in the mainstream. The Equal Opportunities Act 2012 define an impairment as a total or partial loss of a body function, a malfunction of a part of the body, mental or psychological disease or disorder, among the various other definitions. The Building Control, that is the Accessibility and Gender Compliance in Buildings 2017, states that the regulations 2017 defined a person with disability as including a person who has a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, and sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder his or her full, effective and equal participation in the society. Now I come from Mauritius. I'm moving from Mauritius to an international level, that is the UNCRPD. The UNCRPD is the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. That is an important international document which states all the protocols in terms of the rights and functions of people with disabilities in the world. So any country can base their act, their bill, or even their advocacy on the UNCRPD. So the UNCRPD, which Mauritius signed in 2007, was ratified in 2010, however, does not contain a comprehensive definition of disability. But it proves that, I quote, persons with disabilities include those who have long-term mental, intellectual, sensory impairments. It's again the same definition that I have given above. So which shows that when it comes to define in the real sense a person with disabilities, there are specificities that are taken into consideration, and others more subtle issues are not even included. So now I come to the topic. The today's topic is bullying, and the whole my presentation is based on the anti-bullying campaign which I have initiated with the University of Mascarenes, which is a public university here, and the group of the NLE students. So first of all, it's very important as human being to understand that we all face bullying in any form every day. How we deal with bullying, how we deal with it, how we experience it, and how we report bullying is not only an individual issue, but it's also a social, legal, and cultural issue. So what is bullying? In simple terms, bullying is the repetitive, I quote, the repetitive intentional hurting of one person by another, where the relationship involves an imbalance of power. Bullying can take place anywhere. It can be in the schools, it can be in the church, it can be in the sacred places, it can be in the society, it can be online. That's what we call cyberbullying. It can be from a person with disability onto another person with disability. It can be from a woman to a man to a woman, adults upon children, children upon children. So the whole concept of bullying transgresses barriers. It touches everyone and anyone across age, religion, culture, education, and status. Bullying can be carried out physically, verbally, emotionally, cyberspace, professionally, and psychologically. There is a legal definition for bullying, however, in our law in Mauritius. In terms of legal definition, in Mauritius, we don't have a specific definition for bullying. We don't have a definite measure to be taken when a bullied person is reporting. So here there is another lacuna which made us think that we should how to sensitize people in the mainstream and people with disabilities so that they can enact and enjoy the human right. In our law here, as there is no legal definition for bullying, there is no legal anti-bullying laws. So that is the interconnection. If you don't have an issue, the issue is not reported. Of course, there is no legislation or measures which will come and protect the people. And this is one important invisible kind of criminal offense that's happening, because we don't know the impact of the people. We don't know the impact of bullying on the people being bullied. And people with disabilities, they've already faced a challenge of being disabled in the society. They have to struggle every day on the emotional and psychological, social level to be included.
Can we, Shyama?
Yes.
Shyama, Dr. Shyama, that video is
Yes.
not playing. Can we, or we have to stop it?
It's playing now. Yeah, we can play it
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And we will continue. Sorry for the...
No problem. No problem. Can we stop the video, ma'am? Ma'am, can we stop the video now? Thank you.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
as you have seen in the video, we all at one point we have seen children facing bullying in this kind of violence, verbal abusers among their own peer. And this is how we have found the cause, that is the bullying, and then we came up with an action, that is the anti-bullying campaign here. And the campaign was funded by jointly organized by the University of Mascarenhas and the group of students. However, it was funded by the European Union. And then we came up with a solution. How do we fight against bullying for people with disabilities? Not only for people with disabilities, but also the mainstream society. Because what I have noticed when trying to rally some people who have faced bullying to come and speak publicly, they were hesitant because they thought that if I'm going to share, everyone will get to know what happened to me. However, those people with disabilities who came and shared the experience, they really touched the audience, because people came from the audience and spoke to us about their own experiences of the bullying in the school, in the society, and how sometimes the parents of the children with disabilities face bullies because they cannot manage. Other people from the mainstream society do not understand that parents also need support. So both the persons with disabilities and their families were bullied. So the last video will be the solution that we brought to the campaign, and how we thought we need to empower people with disabilities in terms of what you will see in the video. So technically, bullying is not in itself a criminal offense. However, there are some types of bullying which can be criminalized. For example, if you physically assault someone, if you harass someone, especially if the harassment is based on gender and racism, if you make violent and life-threatening comments or menaces, any obscene or harassing phone calls, text, or messages, that's what we call sexting. Sextortion, which is a kind of sexual exploitation. Child pornography, stalking someone, take a photo of someone in a place where they expect privacy, extortion, and cyberbullying now has become such a serious issue that any amount of it is now tagged under the subheading of criminal offense. And in Mauritius, we have an act, which is the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act 2003, which is since the post-COVID pandemic, it's really active in terms of children, people with disabilities, women. They are kind of monitoring what's happening on the internet, because we have noticed a higher rate, not only in Mauritius but around the world, a higher rate where people are being bullied through the internet. And when it comes to people with disabilities, they cannot they cannot voice out what's happening, because they don't have access to any kind of tools, technological tools to report. Secondly, they are not, many of them are not supported by their own families because they think that it's a taboo. Why should we go and report? We're already having so much of challenges at home. And third is like sometimes the people who are those who take care of the people with disabilities, they are the ones inflicting bullying upon them. So when it comes to children with disabilities and any children for that matter, Article 19 of the Convention of the Rights of the Children 1989 stipulates that children must be protected from all forms of violence, abuse, neglect, maltreatment, or exploitation. And in its General Comments number 13, 2011, the UNCRC Committee on the Rights of the Child included physical bullying and hazing by other children in its definition of physical violence. And I would like to add something here. Even ragging is a kind of bullying. So here in Mauritius, in the universities, it's literally and systematically banned to rag anyone, either verbally or physically. Like you are not supposed to kind of overpower the first year students. But in India, I have seen like in some universities, ragging is still a trend. And that should be one of the priorities of the educational system, where ragging should be banned. And it should be a kind of offense, because there were some reported cases where students committed suicide and students died because of ragging. However, in our legislation here, bullying would fall under harm, which is defined as physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, and moral injury, neglect, ill treatment, improvement of health, or development in the Child Protection Act. Bullying has now a far-reaching and catastrophic consequence on the physical, mental states of children, which persist right into adulthood. And studies have shown that victims of bullying tend to become bullies over the time. That is the psychological impact upon the bullied, as they don't speak about that, as they don't report about what has happened to them. So it is a human tendency to inflict it upon others. And this is where they also become a kind of, accomplices into breaching the human rights of people with disabilities, or even the mainstream. Actually, my topic is on disability, but when we conducted the campaign, we focused on the youth, and we focused on both mainstream and PWDs, because right now Global Rainbow Foundation is focusing fervently on the concept of inclusive society. So when we speak of the people with disabilities, we need to explain, to educate the mainstream society that bullying is wrong, and you would not like to be in that condition. And the proper term, right, I mean, we call that anti-bullying and bullying concept, but the proper term for an anti-bullying concept is called the disabilist bullying. That is, the word disabilist itself shows how we need to dismantle the practice of bullying. So what is a disabilist bullying? It's when people are bullied because they have a disability. So the motivations for disabilist bullying may involve discriminations on the basis of disability, lack of understanding of person's disability, the socio-cultural constructions, and also a huge lack of empathy and understanding towards the human being. So when we speak of human rights, it's very important to understand that at the basis of the human rights practice, involvement, legislation, we have something which come as the root of the whole construct. It's the notion of empathy and the concept of being humane. Until unless you don't understand that being a human being, I would not like bullying to happen to me, because it's really disturbing, it's traumatizing, and many people, they are led into a kind of depression, and it takes years and years for them to come out of that trauma. So if I myself as a human being, I would not like that to happen. I have no right whatsoever in any condition to inflict any kind of violence, any kind of bully on any person, irrespective of age, race, culture, and ability or disability. So the impacts of disability bullying is really harmful, not only to the individual, but also to the surrounding of the individuals, as it is based on prejudice and targets who may not know how to seek and express what they are experiencing. And the victims of disability bullying, they usually face many social and emotional risks, including a greater chance of feeling depressed, anxious, being lonely, having low self-esteem, and to an extreme, they even adopt suicide as the solution. So other impacts of bullying may include headaches or sleeping problems, poor attendance at school, low motivation, and a drop in academic performance. It is also seen, as I have already mentioned, that some bullied people, because they cannot bear the pressure, because they cannot come out of the trauma, they resort to suicide. Now, there are different ways to prevent bullying against people with disabilities. And once you start to act upon those ways to prevent bullying against anyone in the society, especially people with disabilities, children with disabilities, and women and girls with disabilities, we go back to act as a human right activist. And right now, because of the COVID situation, because of the toll that the internet is taking on around the world, because of the lack of understanding, all these different challenges have led us to kind of becoming passive to any act of bullying, to any act of violence taking place upon any other individual. So there are ways to prevent the bullying. First, I'll take the parents. It's very important to educate the parents so that they can spot if their child is bullied. Many times, a child comes to us, to the parents, and wants to say, "Mom or Dad, my friend has beaten me. My friend has called me names. My friend has, they are telling me things because I'm fat, because I'm thin, because I'm dark, because I'm white," whatever issues it is in the school or in the playground or outside. But what we tend to do as adults, we say, "You are a kid, you don't understand anything, you don't say anything, it's not what you are telling, I'll come and speak, I'll come to the school." And most of the time, parents are so busy that they tend to forget, okay, the child has forgotten what happened, so it means everything is fine. Here there is the problem with the parents. If the parents want to help their children to fight against bullying and to stop bullying upon them, they need to listen to their children. It's a humble request that, like, from now on, whenever a child comes and speak to us, or a person with disabilities come and speak to us, at least we can have 5 minutes or 2 minutes just to listen to what's happening, because it's very rare that someone with disabilities will come and share what's happening to that particular person. And then the parents should support the children and encourage the child to describe who was involved, what happened, at what time of the day, was there any teacher there, was there other students who came to help. Because most of the time, a bullied child is not at fault. It's just the kind of thing that the bully, the one who is inflicting the bully, find a weakness, find a prey in that child. And it's very important to provide the necessary parental and family support to a child who tries to come and report what's happening. The second institutions where I would like to touch in terms of preventing bullying is the schools themselves. Schools have a duty, moral, ethical, and humane duty to care and protect for all the students, so as to provide a safe, healthy, conducive, and happy environment to the learners. So I know schools, I know we are overburdened, because I'm a teacher. So I know we are really overburdened, and we have so many things to take care of, and so many kids, different mentalities, different kind of behaviors. But it's, for a bullied child, it's just a little observation will help you to understand if there is a problem with the child or not in the school. And I think in all the schools, there should be a counseling panel, a panel of maybe 2 or 3 trained teachers or trained psychologists who can be here at alternative times so that they can provide the psychological support to any child who feels or who reports to be bullied. And the school should have a behavior policy which outlines good behaviors in school, particularly preventing all forms of bullying among children, because it's a trend in children, like, okay, we are the same age, so I can beat him, I can say anything to him, he's my friend. That is a culture that we should right now tackle from a young age so that we stop the increase of bullying around. And then we should try to build resilience as well as establish self-esteem programs along with the staff training in bullying awareness and interventions. It's very important to train our teachers, our teaching and non-teaching staff, so that they can recognize bullying, they can understand the implication, and they can decide on their own what actions can be taken. And last suggestion for the prevention of bullying in school is we should have a monitoring system where the supervision of pupils who may be targeted throughout the school day or constantly, they should feel protected. They should feel that, okay, if I'm bullied, I am not feeling safe, I have somebody of trust to go to in the school. So now when we speak of bullying, I know it's still a taboo. We don't really understand, okay, what kind of issues a person may face, especially people with disabilities and children. So right now I come to the advocacy. This is what I am into right now. So advocacy is how you advocate to stop bullying, how you advocate to stop disability bullying against people with disabilities. So parents, educators, community members, stakeholders, the government, the police, all the stakeholders of the society, as well as the civil society, we should all play an important and active role in preventing and addressing bullying. So first, how can we advocate for to stop bullying? Children, we should explain to children, we should explain to people with disabilities. Now when I come to people with disabilities, it's not only the young, it's also the old people who are suffering from bullying, but they don't have any alternatives, they don't have any tools to report. So explaining bullying to the child, explaining to bullying to a person with disabilities and an old age person, it's very important so that they understand how to tackle the emotion attached to bullying, so that they understand how to report. They know that there are systems, there are people who are there, whether in the ministry or outside the ministry, in the school, in the home, in the society, in the panchayat, wherever you feel, wherever there is an opportunity to connect these people with a kind of body who can help them, they should be made aware. That's how the advocacy starts. And it's really important to explain to them how to recognize bullies. Second, we have to talk with the youth about bullying. The youth right now, see, the youth in India is of a different mindset. The youth in Mauritius is of different mindset. Youth in UK, US, Africa, and like we all have different cultural mindset for our youth. However, given the trend that's going on, I'm focusing much more on the COVID situation right now. It's very important to speak and communicate to the youth. It's very important to rally the youth and make them as active agents for a social change. And this is what we are trying to do. This is what I am trying to do. My focus is on people with disabilities, yes, but I'm trying to involve the youth as much as you can. So in the video, when you saw those kids, they are from different age group. And I have two boys from a University of Technology of Mauritius. I have one boy and one girl from a college. They are only around 16 or 17. I have one girl who is a working lady, and then some volunteers. They have rallied the volunteers. So this is how we try to communicate with them, and then they understand the issues. They are the ones they are the harbingers of change. And a change is start in the mindset. So I along with my collaborator, we try to mold them in such a way that they understand that being the youth, they are the one who should put an end to anything which disturbs the human rights. No one has the right to take the human rights, human democratic rights of any human being in the society. Third one is the peer-to-peer advocacy. Peer-to-peer advocacy is when we train the youth, that group of students, by including them in our project. They are the ones who explain the issue. They are the ones who went out into their circle and explain what is bullying, what is disability bullying, and what we should not do, and how we can come together to solve the issue in the society. That is peer-to-peer advocacy. The fourth one is self-advocacy, where the importance of involving the youth in decision-making and planning is really important. Self-advocacy means the youth experiencing bullying is able to communicate in a straightforward manner. And the person who has been bullied should be involved in deciding how to respond to the bully, to this challenge of being bullied, and according to him or her, what kind of punishment or what kind of action should be taken. And that person should be empowered to such a level that the person can go and voice out on his or her own without any kind of support. It's very important to know also that there are many bodies, many international and national bodies which are working for children and people with disabilities, like the UNCRPD, we have World Bank, we have the UNESCO, we have the UN. Here in Mauritius, we have the Ombudsperson for Children, who, as per an annual report, stated that for any case of bullying against disabled people, the ombudsperson is open to an interaction. Like, she is really focusing on how to report to, how to encourage people and students, people with disabilities, to report their bullying. Another damage that I have noticed, and which is really prevailing around the world, is bullying in the workplace. It's called workplace bullying. Workplace bullying is damaging and it's demotivating. Some of the workers are so traumatized and depressed that they commit suicide because they cannot bear the pressure of what's happening. And in a workplace, professional, I call that professional harassment in usual words, usual terminologies. Professional harassment, that is workplace bullying, should not be tolerated at any point of time. Be it you are a man, you are a woman, you are a young recruit, you are somebody with experience, you should voice out, because workplace bullying is a common trend right now. And I'm not being biased, because even men are being bullied just because of what's happening in the world, in the society, in the mindset. Girls and women tend to face much more harassment at work. And the girls and women are given threats, and they are said that you are not supposed to go and complain. This is one aspect of where the women and girls, they are not able to enjoy their human rights to voice out, to express themselves, to protect themselves in terms of human beings. So this should stop. And some companies have established some anti-bullying or harassment policies, whereas others have a kind of disciplinary board. And the disciplinary board, it acts in terms of, it acts as a facilitator to communicate between the bully and the bullied. And also they try to bring a kind of conversation, interaction, and find solution to stop what's happening. And it's very important to know that according to statistics, more than 27% of workers have reported experiencing abuse at work. And that is considered as bullying. So being bullied increases the risk that a person with disability who is already struggling to work, to face more of depression, more of anxiety, and even substance abuse. There are people who are bullied to such a level that rather than committing suicide, rather than approaching somebody to report, approaching somebody to voice out and say that this is my problem, they resort to drug abuse. And drug abuse It's another social evil that everyone is trying to fight against. So you see, if you try to, the root cause is bullying. If we try to tackle the issue of bullying right at a young age, right at an initial stage, I'm sure we are together, we can help our society, help ourselves and others to enact on the human rights, because we have the rights, whoever you are, whatever age you are at, whatever gender you are, it does not matter. We have to enact our human rights. So reporting bullying and making declaration to the police. See, the police, they we all know the police is very busy and they have other commitments also, but the police sector, they play an important role in the way reporting of bullying happens. Many incidents of bullying are not actually crimes. However, it may not be a matter for the police. See, if I go to the police station and I say, my teacher, I don't know, my lecturer or my guide, he keeps on insulting me, or he keeps on shouting at me for no reason, and I'm struggling so hard in my research or in my studies, this is not something that the police will take seriously, because it does not involve any kind of serious injuries or of serious, impact. However, the psychological impact and the psychological impact and the emotional impact on that particular person, it's kind of invisible. It handicaps the person. Right now, it's not only about person with disabilities, it's for mainstream, it's for us also. So some forms of bullying are illegal and should be at any cost be reported to the police. For example, violence and assault, theft, repeated harassment or intimidation. For example, name callings, threats, abusive phone calls, emails and text messages, hate crimes. And if you are reporting cyberbullying, you need to keep a record of the date, time of the calls, emails, texts. So cyberbullying has a different kind of approach, because they need proof to take actions. Then we have, how do we try to advocate and sensitize the people and bring a little change in the mind of people, so that we understand that if I have rights to be a human being, other people have the same right. So we cannot snatch the human rights of anyone just to say that we are powerful, just to say that I'm educated, just to say that I am the one who can do that, I have power. So one of the important action that we have taken is in terms of the sensitization campaigns. And the video that you have seen, it's what we have tried. We have come with a solution. The solution against disability bullying for people with disabilities is, I'm going to tell it and then you can see it in the video. It's the self-defense. And the self-defense concept was brought by the youth who collaborated with us during the campaign. So the sensitization campaigns, it will aim at breaking all the stigmas, what we call de-stigmatization of bullying, through education, working to foster greater inclusiveness for people with disabilities in the society, and promote disability rights and human rights. So the whole notion of human rights in the disability sector, it has its foundation in the mindset, in how we think and how we react. So the attitudes towards people with disabilities, it also brings in the concept of interaction. The way we interact with a person with disabilities, the way we interact with a child, or the way we interact with our professors, our friends, family, it all depends on the practice of basic etiquettes towards the other. There is no one who can be called the other. We are all human beings. We share the same world, and we do not have any right to talk them down. We have to treat everyone as equal, and treating everyone as equal is itself a small step towards a change in the mind. And making the and enacting on this on all the human rights that we have. See, today we have reached a point of time in time where we are speaking about human rights, and I don't think that that time should have we should have been in that situation where we speak of human rights, because we are all humans, we all speak of humanity, we all want people to treat us as human. So if I want somebody to treat me as a human, full-fledged human being, irrespective of my gender, irrespective of my education, my status, my skin color, whatever it is, then with what right do I have to treat somebody else in the way that I would not be like to be treated? And this is how people with disabilities, lots of works are being done in the disability sector. And again, I commend India's approach, India's efforts to bring in the Right to Information Act and the Right for People with Disabilities to Act 2016 in India, and it's really helping many of the marginalized societies. So it's very important for us to pay attention to what people with disabilities can do. A wheelchair, a crutch, a limp, and an impairment, and a visual or hearing impairment, dumbness, should not be the measure of a human being. You don't measure a human being in terms of these assistive devices or impairments. You don't measure somebody in terms of color, in terms of race, in terms of weight, height, or whatever it is, whatever kind of constructs we have, because a human being is defined in terms of the ability. We are all unique here. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. However, we should not use others' weaknesses to snatch them from their right to live as a full-fledged human being. So in this way, we do not talk them down by mistaking them to be stupid. No one is a stupid person. The only difference is we use our intelligence, we use our talents, we optimize our potentials in different fields where we are comfortable. And we should be considerate and treat each and everyone as an equal. The very concept, the very notion, practice of equality itself should be the practice of human rights. We should interact with people with disabilities directly, and not only with those who accompany them. For example, if there is a child with a disability, that child is accompanied with the parents in the school, and the child is able to speak. However, it depends on the level of disabilities, whether it is a visible or invisible, heavy disabilities or light disability. Most of the time, what we do as mainstream people, we tend to focus on the person who has come to accompany that child. We don't give the child the time and the opportunity to speak. This is another trend where we are indirectly snatching the right and the freedom of speech and expression from the child. And it happens also with old people. We have old people and old people with disabilities. So they are being accompanied. It's only the daughter or the son-in-law or the relatives who speak for them. Why don't we allow them to speak? In this way, we know that we are allowing them to enact on their human rights despite being an old person. Conversation should be as normal as possible, such that you need not remind them of their disabilities. When I interact with people with disabilities here, even in the campaign or any event, I tell them, I don't see your wheelchair, I don't see your handicap, I see you as a human being. Who is sitting in the wheelchair matters more than the wheelchair for me, because at least I can sit, they listen to me, I listen to them, we have productive conversation, and we all go in the same way, same direction towards an inclusive society. And it's always important to ask before offering help. Some people with disabilities, they don't like to be helped at all. They don't like to be assisted because they feel that they become over-dependent. So when you make somebody become over-dependent, you are indirectly taking his or her right to be a human being, to act in the way that he or she would like to. And we should never assume that the people with disabilities always require help. It's not true that somebody with a handicap requires help. For example, I know somebody, he's a wheelchair, he's a paraplegic, but he is a wheelchair dancer, and I was amazed when I saw him on a wheelchair and dancing. And he has this, the zeal. And I would ask him, can I help, or do we need help? So he'll say, no, I'll manage. We have to let them manage on their own. We are here as indirect or direct assistance, but we cannot overcome them. We cannot take a toll on them so that they feel that they do not exist. Making somebody with a disability, in terms of bullying, in terms of other challenges that we put in front of them, is in itself, we are violating the human rights. So I'm almost at the end of my presentation. Ma'am, can you share the last video, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So before the video plays, I would like to say that this was the solution. Thank you. So it's very quick. Thank you. So it was a short, quick video. As you can see, the girl there, her name is Brandy Perrine, and she's an athletics. She's a sportswoman. The aim of that small video was, the other boy was the self-defense trainer. We wanted, the kids, the group of students brought the solution to anti-bullying. If you want people to protect themselves, people with disabilities to protect themselves, you need to empower them. So what is the empowerment tool that we gave them was the self-defense training. And soon I am going to introduce the self-defense training in the NGO, whereby both people with disabilities, young and anyone who is interested, and the mainstream people, mainstream will be benefiting from the self-defense training within the same space. So that is all. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, hello.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to the
Thank you.
question. Prasanna Miss, Prasanna Miss, carry on with the question answer session.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then one question is, how to teach grown-up children about bullying?
Okay. There are different ways to teach grown-up children about bullying. For example, one of the immediate action that we can take within the school, first of all, is conducting alternate sessions of workshop, bringing a situation and then letting them react to the situation. And the children themselves, they will understand, okay, I am the one doing this to my friend, so that's called bullying, so I should stop it. And that child will tell the other person, you are not supposed to do this because this is bullying. You are hurting someone. So I think anti-bullying workshops or sessions should be included within the curriculum of the school. Like how the schools, how the management does it, it depends, because it depends on the resources, on the human resources, on the funding, and on the limited time, because right now I know with COVID and all, it's difficult to implement other activities because of the blended session, online and face-to-face. Then we can use the media. We can use the media, has the power. It is a powerful tool to sensitize people, to bring a change, to make people understand that bullying is wrong. And the first group category of people who will be touched by media is the young children. And then we have to educate the parents. There is a lack of education in many countries, in many situations, towards the parents, because parents themselves do not know that they are themselves bullying the child. So if the parents understand that by acting in this way, I am bullying my child, so it's always, like as we say, charity starts at home. So we have to target our institutions so that we target the youth. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it's important to tackle this issue right from the roots, and that is from our children itself.
Yes, thank you, madam.
Another
Next question. Priyesh, see you, a visually impaired faculty of Maharaja's College, Ernakulam. How can we overcome the structural injustice against in physically disabled persons in order to ensure the human dignity and self-respect?
Okay, that's one of the common questions that we get, especially from visually impaired person. First of all, there should be a rapport. Like if that person, gentleman is in a college, right? So it's really important to bring a kind of framework to the college, where let me tell you that first of all, no mainstream person is trained accommodate a person with disabilities in the school, in the college. Okay, right now I'm speaking about the peer, the students, as well as the staff and non-teaching staff. And no persons with disabilities is trained to act to fit in. There is no question of fitting in, because both PWDs and mainstream makes the society. So here, I think there should be in the college there should be a panel or a board specifically established to take care of people with with disabilities and who are facing bullying or any kind of any kind of discrimination which touches the human rights. Then there should be access to information. Right to Information Act in India is really working on it. I mean, it's really working on an effective manner, because people with disabilities are taking their acting on the human rights to ask for information. So if in case the person has reported that discrimination is happening to him or bullying is happening to him, but still no action has been taken, then he can take it on a higher level. The person, within the school environment, there should be also a kind of rapport building, of resilience building, which is lacking in many situations. So it depends on what kind of, in what context, what is the context, and what are the resources that the institution has, so that they can implement they can ensure and monitor that no student is no one's human rights is being breached.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, Janada madam, can I ask?
Thank you, Sana ma'am. Any other question?
No question, madam.
I want to talk
No
something.
No.
Ma'am,
Anybody else want
A healthy mind. No,
yes, I want. No question, but madam, we listen to talks on human rights every day. However, generally they don't focus on our fellow beings who are incapacitated mentally or physically. It's a kinder act, a more human act to talk for them and stand for them. So the competitive mind of humans usually tend to ignore persons with lesser capabilities whom we generalize as disabled. In fact, a more defined system of law and culture of society is diagnosable from the attitude to be disabled. So today we are very fortunate to attend a wonderful session focusing on the lesser fortunate fellow humans and for speaking for their rights. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
I would like to add something on what you said. One thing you mentioned, like I think you said, like, we speak for them, right?
Yeah.
We try to help them, assist the people with disabilities by speaking for them. My perception, it's my personal opinion, and what I try to do personally. Like, for example, I believe that if I want them to be empowered, and they have the voice, I don't need to speak for them. It's just like, ma'am, in literature, we say, Gayatri Spivak article, like, can the subaltern speak? Yes, the subaltern can speak, given that this, like right now you said, the less fortunate human beings. I don't consider them as less fortunate, because they have really, huge potentials that we don't have. And we can come together to, to bring something productive to the society. So I am deconstructing, in one sentence, can the subaltern speak? Yes, they can speak, but we have to give them a space. We have to accommodate them. We have to accept them with the disabilities. And above all, one of the human rights tagline is the voice. We should allow them to use their voice to speak for themselves, because until we don't give them their voice, they will not be able to understand that they are human beings and they have their potentials.
Yes, sure, ma'am. Janita, madam.
Shama, I know that you and myself, we both were at the end of the meeting.
Voice breaking.
We are much
Janita,
worried
madam.
about how we are going to conduct. You
Voice
can't hear
breaking.
me.
No, now
voice
it's
breaking.
okay.
We both were much. We are going to conduct this because you were facing a network issues there, and you were telling me that I don't know how I'm going to come online. And I was so much tense that how this today's program will be done. But thank God everything went on well, Shyama. I trust you a lot. And anyhow, thanks for accepting. As a just through WhatsApp, I asked you and you accepted. That's great. And the formal vote of thanks comes the back. Thank you. Thank you, Shyama.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, if you don't mind, may I leave because I have another meeting right now.
Well, 1 minute. The vote of thanks will be only 1 minute,
Vote of
Shyama.
thanks.
Only 1 minute. Shobha, because we want to thank you formally. No?
Now I would like to invite Dr. Shobha, Assistant Professor of Mathematics, to propose the vote of thanks.
Shobha?
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. A little time only I will take, ma'am. Honorable Chief Guest, respected Principal, UGC HRDC Director, IQAC Coordinator, IAC Member, and my dear participants, a very good evening to all. Today it is a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have witnessed it as a successful event. Today my words are not enough to express the gratitude. On behalf of IAC, IQAC of Sree Ayyappa College and UGC HRDC of Kannur, I would like to thank our Chief Guest, Dr. Shyama Ramaswamy, poet and creative writer, editorial coordinator, Global Rainbow Foundation, Mauritius, who graced us with her thought-provoking address at a perfect platform for our college. Ma'am has shared various aspects of disabilities of people and their problems faced by them, schools, working place, etc. Madam, really, it was an informative and innovative session, and hope that our participants were very much benefited with this talk. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It is my proud privilege to thank Mr. Sree Ayyappa, Kannur University, for his support to conduct this program. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our beloved principal for all words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy within us. We will ever remain grateful to you, and we thank you for being us today. Thank you, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks to IQAC Coordinator, Dr. K. Meena, IAC President, Dr. Smita, organizers of this program, Dr. Meera, Dr. Janada, Dr. Anita, Master of Ceremony, Dr. Prasanna Kumari, and technical support, Mr. Apijit, and all IAC members. I also extend my thanks to all the participants for their enormous cooperation and showing their interest throughout this course. Thanking you. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Shama. You can leave. Sorry, I bothered you a lot. Thank you.
No.